Hello everyone, welcome to Desert Succulent, and today pag-uusapan natin ang Echeveria pulvinata, or commonly known as the Chenille Plant. This succulent comes with different common names such as yung ating Chenille Plant, Ruby Slippers, Plush Plant, Ruby Blush, and the Red Velvet. And what makes this succulent extra special is yung kanyang leaves. Ayan, so kung makikita ninyo, yung kanyang leaves are covered thickly with parang white hairs. Especially if titingnan natin yung pinaka-rosette niya, makikita natin yung may pagka parang whitish na hair. For the old leaves, nandun pa rin yung kanyang tiny white hairs pero hindi siya masyadong kita. Unlike pag bagong growth lang ng kanyang leaves, kitang-kita nyo talaga siya. So yung texture niya is again very similar sa ating felt paper, and there is a reason kung bakit yung kanyang leaves are covered with these white hairs, because this one now helps protect them from the harsh rays of the sun, and at the same time it protects it from water loss. It will also give you an orange-red flower. And since this succulent now has these white hairs na it could protect it from the harmful rays of the sun, it is very suitable if ilalagay natin siya sa areas that has a full sunlight. So gustong-gusto niya ng full sun exposure and warm temperatures such as the Philippines. Meron tayong tinatawag na environmental stresses such as yung high heat or there's a big amount of direct sunlight na tumatama sa ating succulent, and this direct sunlight now would develop tinges of red along the leaf margins. The main color ng kanyang leaves are actually color green, parang light green in color, but yung kanyang edges now are may pagka-red as a result of full sun exposure. That's why it's very important na pag-isipan nyo mabuti yung kanyang location, kasi pag ilalagay nyo siya sa isang area na walang full sun, for example, lalo na pag indoors, then you won't be expecting a dark color red dito sa kanyang edges. And I have another example. Ito yung ating pinaka-mother plant. Exposed siya sa full sunlight. As you can see, this one, red na talaga yung part na ito. Ayan siya. So this one, as you can see, this mother plant is exposed to full sunlight exposure. So it's receiving parang 6 hours of sunlight a day. And mapapansin naman natin, nagkaroon na tayo ng mga red margins sa kanyang leaf. It's very nice to look at kasi sobrang kapal ng kanyang red margins, and you can always make use of this plant as a centerpiece, diba? So you can put it sa inyong dining tables or sa inyong living room tables or anywhere. As a result, pag nilagay nyo siya sa isang area na may low light and it's not receiving sufficient sunlight, ganyan ang mangyayari sa inyong succulent. Very compact siya pag sufficient yung kanyang light, but for this one, makikita nyo naman leggy siya. Since it's not receiving sufficient sunlight, it will continuously grow except for this one. Expect na magkakaroon ng gaps in between. With regards sa kanyang watering needs, as most drought-tolerant na succulents, we need to water them only pag nag-dry na completely yung kanyang soil. As you can see, this one now, more than 2 weeks na siyang hindi nadidiligan din. Sobrang dry na yung soil, and even dito sa baba. As you can see dito, since I'm using a transparent recycled na container. Ang disadvantage lang if gagamit kayo ng ganitong container is that very prone siya sa algae growth. Yun yung nakikita nyong parang green. In the future, I will be painting this plastic pot with color white so it would look more presentable. So when watering, we need to look after yung pinaka-rosette niya kasi we don't want na yung tubig natin would sit on top of its rosette, kasi pag napabayaan siya, it can cause fungal diseases and rot, which is very common sa lahat ng ating mga Echeverias. You can always fertilize this during its active growing season, which is during these months dito sa Pilipinas. Always make use of a well-draining soil for this kind of succulent. You can always replace yung kanyang soil every 2 years kasi that's our standard time for changing yung kanilang mga soil. And this one, itong mother plant na to was actually just repotted 2 weeks ago. So nilagay ko siya sa bigger na container. Ganyan, kasi hindi na siya kasya doon sa original na container niya. 2 weeks after repotting, hindi ko siya diniligan. And I just watered it today. Kaya medyo basa pa talaga yung kanyang pinaka-soil. As it grows, it also needs some maintenance, especially na yung mga dead leaves sa pinakababa. So all we need to do is just remove these dried leaves sa pinakababa. You can still see yung white hair na naka-attach sa kanyang leaves. We also have itong mga to. Ayan siya. So ganito lang yung kanyang maintenance. So maybe this one is older, kaya dark brown na talaga siya. Ayan, so just remove yung mga dead leaves. And as you can see, this one, nag-yellow siya. This is not a sign of overwatering, but instead, it's a sign of underwatering. So 2 weeks na siyang hindi nadiligan. That's why it really looks very dry. And since underwatered siya, dito sila kumukuha ng source of water nila to support yung mga growing rosettes or leaves sa pinakataas. So we will just leave it here. And also, a part of your maintenance, tanggalin natin yung mga ligaw na damo na tumutubo sa kanya. Next is our propagation, and right now we will be doing the actual beheading nitong ating chenille plant. So this one has already 1, 2, 3, 4 offsets, and I'm planning na i-behead natin siya. And so yung mga stem cuttings from this mother plant, yun yung ililipat natin dito sa ating malaking pot kasi we want to have a very compact na arrangement making use of this red chenille plant. You can propagate this via yung kanyang leaves or yung ating stem cuttings. Ayan. Ayan, so we already have one. Ayan, so madami siyang offsets. Ayan, so try din natin dito sa baba. Ayan, so we already have 2. Okay, 3. So itong maliit na to, pwede na rin natin siyang i-behead. Ikat lang natin siya dito. And lastly, ikakat natin siya dito sa area na to. So ang matitira lang sa kanya is yung kanyang stem. And if you will be asking kung mabubuhay ba itong ating mother plant kahit na walang naiwan na leaf, yes, there's a big chance for it to survive. So itong mga pinagkatan natin ng kanyang stem, we will be expecting na in a couple of weeks magkakaroon tayo ng offsets dyan. So wag kayong matakot na i-behead or i-cut yung inyong mga succulents. Ikakat rin natin. So ganito ang magiging itsura niya. So this one is a freshly cut na stem ng ating chenille plant. All we need to do is i-air dry natin siya for at least 1 week. Lalagay natin siya sa isang bright shaded area. Wag muna natin silang i-expose sa area na may full sunlight. So same thing with this one. We will let it callus over for the first week. So ngayon ko lang na-realize na itong binihead pala natin is may flower na siya. Hindi ito yung kanyang typical na offset, but in fact, this one is yung ating flower. So, hindi ko alam if it will still continue to bloom. So, I will be giving you an update whether or not mabubuhay natin siya. As long as we will care for this succulent, then we won't be having any problem with yung kanyang diseases or pests. So, that's all for our chenille plant. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You may also visit our Facebook page at Desert Succulent page. And once again, thank you guys for watching.